Hey everyone, it's Sean here. This is a little part of my amazing SI joint course that I'm going to be offering online. We're also having a little workshop here at the studio. And I just wanted to put this class out there for those of you that might want to try and see what kind of yoga we're doing and just how to, learn to get comfortable with really simple ideas so that your back, your pelvis, your hips, and we're talking about the SI joint, it's you're talking about the whole pelvis. So with that being said, we want to feel good and we want to make sure that we're, understanding that there's no right or wrong necessarily. It's all about our own experience and how we feel when we're doing yoga. This is a chair that we're going to use. You could use a kitchen chair. I'm going to show you how to use it in a few different ways. We're going to use a yoga block. We might need a strap. I'll show you how that works. And we're going to use some towels or blankets. So one towel is going to be for your head. So you're going to have that nice and close. Blocks and straps just to the side so you know where they are. And then this second blanket, you see, when I lay down, I want to have the pelvis on something and a little bit of the lower back. And I don't think anyone will need two blankets at this point. But here's what it'll look like. You're going to come and lay down on your back, head supported, and you're going to be able to have a little bit of that blanket in your low back, but maybe not your ribs. So you'll be able to tuck your shoulders under. And you can see my knees, my feet can slide a little bit on the chair seat. That's kind of nice, but you want to have the knees more above your hips. And just when we start the class, it's really simple. You're going to take the middle width of your foam block, if you have one of those. You can use something else. Tupperware will work if you're at home and don't have that. And you're going to put it up by your knees, not between the bones, but kind of between the inner knee skin. And really simple, you put your hands on the ground and just push your heels into the chair. Squeeze the block with your inner thighs and try to relax your belly so that you can kind of get this gravity to help your leg bones go into the hips. The block kind of stabilizes things and might help your thighs kind of roll towards each other. And it should have a really kind of calming effect in the back of the pelvis, right? And to help this on out, you can take your strap and you're just going to put it over your shins. And we're going to try this again in a sec, but I want you just to pull gently down, okay, so that you can, you could also use your hands. I like the straps because you could get your elbows down and you could relax your shoulders better, but you're going to pull the thigh bones into the hips, and you're just trying to get this effect where your whole lower back and sacrum can kind of go into that blanket without hardening your belly. So it should be a nice relief. So gently squeeze the block, gently push your heels down, gently pull with the strap. And this is a real kind of constructive position where you just are relaxed, you're supported. It's not too much work or stretching going on, but you could really broaden and breathe into your back. So do that. Let the back spread, let your buttocks muscles spread, let the sacrum, which the sacrum is the part of the spine that connects the two sides of the pelvis via the sacroiliac joint on each side. So here we could just imagine that the sacrum is imprinting, and then both sides of the pelvis are also getting heavy on the floor, right? The whole buttocks muscles spreading from the center to the sides. Okay, so come on out of there. It's a real quick class. We're only going to do a few poses just to give you guys a nice little practice to do if your hips are feeling a little fussy. So now you could take your hands with your knees, and the feet are going to kind of turn onto the chair, and just go out wide and let your toes turn over the chair to a butterfly pose. And then let your knees come back in, and your feet can go a little away or together. You're going to bring your knees in. So when you come into the butterfly pose, you might slide your feet a little bit closer and point your toes over. And then you're going to come back in. So there's a little movement, right? Just opening your hips and closing them. So you could slide the feet a little closer, open your hips into a butterfly pose, just kind of feeling what that does in the back of your hips, and then come back out. And we're just going to do it one more time. Slide the feet into butterfly pose, turn the toes over, and then come back out. So just to kind of loosen things up. So we're going to come back one more time, and I'm going to just be a little bit more sensitive. And in the course, I'm going to talk a lot about this, about, root this, feel this, move your pelvis that way, this way. So I just want you guys to put the block back in, have the heels on your chair again, strap on your shins. And you don't want to necessarily let the legs be loose, but you could squeeze the block, heels down, and I want you to feel what happens in your lower back when your legs start to slide and the heels go to the back of the chair, the knees come forward, you're likely going to feel the pelvis tip away and the low back fly up, which is nothing wrong with that. But in this perspective, we're trying to kind of get the lower back and the pelvis to one stage. So the opposite of that, whereas if you pulled the strap too close in and the knees came in, the feet came off the chair, then you're kind of rounding your back, which also can feel really nice, by the way. But we're trying to find this kind of more natural feeling in our back where the things can really settle and root. So let's go back a little bit too far again, just so you feel your lower back lift up. And that's where I want you to push your heels down, squeeze the block, and then you just have to have this experience. When you pull on the strap and bring your knees a little closer, you want to find the spot where the top of your pelvis and the tailbone side of your pelvis are kind of evenly rooted, right? If you think of like a clock, the top might be 12 o'clock, the bottom would be 6 o'clock. So the top and bottom of your pelvis on the back are nice and heavy and just pull down. And that's it. That's it. And we're going to change this into a yoga stretch after this and hopefully have a really good time doing it. Okay. And then when you're ready, you could take your strap off, set it to the side, set your block off to the side, and just hold your knees with your hands, zip your feet up, and you could roll everything over onto the side. All right, guys. So now we're going to get on with our yoga. So what I'm going to do here is the chair was kind of in a nice spot, but I'm going to turn it sideways because this is a backless yoga chair and not everyone's going to have the ability to put their foot through. So that's where I'm going to show this little trick for you guys. Is here, I know that I'm a little taller, so I'm just going to build my chair seat up a little bit. You see I've given myself a little bit of a blanket and I have the chair still nice and close. And then when you come onto your back, you lay on your side and you roll over. And now you could see that I'm going to scooch in so that I could get the leg on the bolster. But you could see here that the knee needs to come a little bit in. So I'm happy to kind of just pull my chair a little bit closer in. And so then you can see that now I can get that leg up onto the chair. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. Is like the block was there, I squeeze in, the legs supported on the chair, tailbone tucked a little bit, and then the second leg is going to stretch out. So you could see that it's just a mountain pose, the front thigh turns in, and I'm trying to monitor that levelness in my pelvis. Now arms up, catch your forearms, and take the arms overhead. And so I know there's no block there, but can you think of your inner legs moving gently into the block? Take a few good breaths here. The arms are cut in half when you hold the forearm. So this is a nice way to kind of make the shoulders a little less burdened, I could say. But then you want to really kick out through your right leg and move the front of the thigh down so that that leg is as if you were standing on it. And just take a couple nice breaths there, guys. Breathe. And you know, this is a common yoga stretch, but here you can really chill out, right? You don't have to overwork. So one more moment here. Awesome. And then you could bring your arms up and put that right foot flat. So before we roll over and move our chair, you could try one more time. This time you're going to take the shin with your belt. The right foot's on the ground. You come a little bit closer and you're going to resist the shin and the strap together and then put that ankle or heel on the chair and kind of push down into it. So when you hug in, it kind of connects to your butt and hamstring, and it's going to really help you register the left side of your sacrum on the floor because I have my left knee in. Now relax your shoulders, soften your belly, and then same thing, you could stretch your right leg out. And you just have to really work through the right heel so the back of the leg gets longer. Move the front thigh down, and when your thigh helps to engage and hug to the bone, it's going to help to turn the front of the thigh in as if you were kind of still squeezing that block between your legs. And then you could take a couple good breaths here, right? Could we do this just holding the knee with our hands? We could, but we got all these reference points, right? The knee and the shin on the belt, right? You're resisting, and then you're pushing your heel down into the chair. And then that right leg is really long, and you're still watching your low back and your pelvis on this nice roll, right? Or sorry, the nice towel or blanket that's underneath you. So just 2 more breaths. Now here, because you could let go and nothing really changes, if it's feeling like a good day to do it, you could take your arms up, catch your forearms, and then one more time go overhead. So nice smooth breaths. And so this, if we were to flip ourselves upside down onto our feet, we'd be in a lunge or a warrior one position. So it's just a really nice way to get access to this front hip, front thigh opening, and also learn a lot about what's going on in the back of our pelvis, right? In the butt muscles, in the sacrum, in the sacroiliac joint, in our low spine, right? So we really learn to practice in a healing and therapeutic way when we pay attention with props like this. So now you could bring your arms up, and when you come out, you could slide your left leg a little bit more onto the chair, just bend the right knee. There you go. You could take your belt off. I like to just bring the knees in into a little cannonball shape before rolling over. So now here's my advice for you, is when you move your chair, you come up onto your knees, you stand up, and this is just because I don't want anyone at home to lift your chair when you're sitting. You come and stand up and you move your chair over to the second side, and then we can lay onto our back again and just start over with the second side. And the reason I say that is, you're probably going to be just dandy fine if you sit down and move your chair, but this is always the safer way. You could just adjust your chair or adjust your body so you can get your right leg up this time. Left knee on the floor, right? Just let your belly relax, let your back go into the blanket like we've been doing. And then once that leg is there, you think of hugging the legs in. So you don't flop like butterfly pose. You want to gather the outer thighs in, gather the inner thighs in, and slide your left leg along the floor slowly, right? Thigh down, and then take your arms up and catch your forearms, right? So a couple good breaths here. Nice and easy pose. So it's called Ekapada Pavanamuktasana, in Sanskrit for kind of one-legged wind-releasing pose. And we're putting a lot of emphasis on paying attention to the back of the body and just breathe naturally through your nose. You don't have to try to breathe deeply, just nothing fancy, just nice, smooth, and regular breaths. Try to relax the belly when you exhale. Great, guys, good work. You're ready to come out, just bring your arms back up, set them down to the sides, and what you can do is put the left foot down flat. All right, now the second side, you're gonna take your belt or strap or whatever kind of tool you have. You bring your right foot more onto the chair, and then you can get that same feedback. So in fact, lift the foot up, and for a second, push the shin or knee into the belt and resist down so you could pin the right hip down and then stand on the right foot. So there's multiple points of contact, the foot into the chair, the shin into the belt, and you could really sit on that right hip. So it's spreading the butt, spreading the sacrum. Relax your shoulders. Now work on the Tadasana leg. So Tadasana is mountain pose, right? So you kick out through the left leg, the heel, so the back of the leg gets long. You wake up your foot, even try to spread your toes, and then move the front of the thigh down. Can you do that with a quietness in your belly? Right? Outer legs kind of hugging in, like the outer hips is what I mean. Kind of gather a little bit, get a little bit of energy in your legs and hips. Awesome. What's going on in the back of the pelvis? Are you evenly weighted, left to right, right to left, top to bottom? Right? Watch your back. And now if everything's okay, you could let go. Nothing really changes. And you could take your arms up, maybe switch your crossing because we are creatures of habit. We always tend to hold the same way. And then go overhead, take a few good breaths, getting into that front hip. So, this is the only shape that we're going to work on in this little mini class that I wanted to share. But it's a very effective way to get a little bit of something when your back isn't feeling great, or maybe you're just not up for doing standing poses, or you're just tired and you need something that's a nice relief. This is a nice therapy for the hips, and you're able to control and monitor what's going on in the back. So one more moment here, guys. And then when you're ready, you could bring your arms up. Okay, bend the left knee, put the foot down flat, and bring your knees in and roll over. And so I want you guys to roll on your side, look down. And I just want to give an example here that most people have a dining room set. They have a couple chairs that they can access in their house. But if I had 2 chairs and I could level the legs evenly heighted, I'd have this nice platform to do Shavasana with my legs up. Okay, so that's what I'm kind of hoping to leave you guys with at the end of your class, is that you could do a relaxation pose and have your legs elevated. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about 2 chairs is because not everyone has the ability to go through the chairs like this backless yoga chair that I'm showing with. So if you have 2 chairs and you could get your legs on an even surface with the backs of the knees supported, your feet over the chairs, that same little blanket touching your low back and pelvis, buttocks wrapped under, then that's a really nice place. Tucking in the shoulders and just doing this kind of sensory observation, right? That you're just relaxing after the poses. You don't have to do anything. At home, at my house, it's often I'll put my legs up on my couch, making sure there's nothing touching my feet and that the backs of the legs are right snug up against the couch. You want something touching the backs of the knees and the legs resting level. So that's what I'm going to leave you guys to explore, is getting yourself ready for a little Shavasana, a mini Shavasana. And, thank you for trying out the little class. I know it was only a couple poses, but I hope your back really feels good. And do check out the course or check out some of the other classes that we offer here in the online library to help you feel really good. So have a good relaxation, and namaste.